While I was working on my house, had the unexpected surprise injury. Um, I was cutting a piece of plywood, leaned over too much over on it, and fell. But I slipped off the board and went sort of face first into the ground. Broke my collarbone. Now this is a kind of a something and a nothing injury. Very, very painful. It immobilizes you, and it seems that as long as it's not a shattered bone, as in, say, a car accident, then it doesn't seem to be an injury that they can do a whole lot with. Now, here's the point. I'm in the Philippines. Came out to the Philippines 3 years ago, more, and I don't have insurance. I came out here because I couldn't live in the States on my pension. So I came out to the Philippines to seek a new life. Met my wife, got married, and here I am building a house in the hills of Bohol. Well, everything was going fine until it wasn't, and then it really wasn't. Couldn't afford to go to a hospital. We didn't have the money for that. So I looked at the injury myself. Painful though it was, it didn't seem to be so blackened. It didn't seem to be that bad. So we went actually to a couple of healers. First healer did some manipulation on the bone, said that she didn't believe it was broken. Well, she's a Filipino healer with just some experience of helping people in a similar situation. Well, she seemed to get it back into some kind of shape, but that wasn't good enough. Somebody told my wife, well, she's not the best, you should go to the old lady. I called her Megan. I think her name was Mengan. Anyway, we went to the old lady that you're seeing in the pictures, and she actually manipulated it too, but very gently compared to the other one. Now, she was a very ancient lady. She came out, as you can see in the pictures. She had a little tiny nipa hut that she lived in with her husband. They tended a small rice field, very, very poor. But she had some something that was, I think, some little mixture that was made in paraffin or something like that. Really stank. I wouldn't have smoked after I had that rub from her. But she rubbed the bone, and she told me something that seemed to fly in the face of all of the other information, and that is to exercise. I didn't understand how, because as you've seen in some of the photographs, I thought from my investigation, my research online, that they kind of strap you up and immobilize you. So when she told me to exercise, I wondered at the wisdom of that. But then I went to see an Australian friend of mine who lived very close to the old lady, and he told me that in Australia they can have a broken collarbone athlete back on the field in as little as 2 weeks. Well, obviously they have million-dollar treatment, so I took that with not with a pinch of salt, but with a little caution. And instead of strapping myself up, I didn't. I just made sure that my arm was supported by the other arm, and I did exercises, and I exercised, and sure enough, in about 3 weeks I was doing pretty good, and in about a month or so 3 weeks I was already back at work, but after a month I was doing very, very well. Now, lots of people who could afford to have great medical attention advise me, don't take the word of a healer. You should go to a hospital. What I knew about hospitals was what my wife told me, because she worked in a hospital. As soon as they see a foreigner walk through the door, they know that they're wealthy. This is not true in my case, but they double the fee. The doctors double the fee. Whether that's true or not, overall, I don't know. But certainly in my wife's case, she said that that is true. So we knew that we couldn't go and have 6 or 10,000, 20,000 or more peso healing ticket, so we had to do with what we had. I stayed home. I kept on. I rested whenever I felt tired. I rested. If the pain got too much, I lay down and rested, and we self-healed. I did a few of the healing remedies that I know of. I exercised the arm. The left shoulder blade was the one that was broken. I didn't believe for a long time that it was broken, but now that it's healed, I can actually feel where the break was. So it's completely without pain now. Back then, that was, let me see, 4th of the 9th, 2016. That was when I was photographed outside the healer's house. So around that time, right? We're doing okay now. I don't have any pain from the collarbone, and all I have to do now is to do the recuperating exercises that you would normally do for an injury of this kind. So it was an adventure. Went to see a healer. The healer was wonderful, I thought. I went back a couple of times, and have to say that the whole thing was quite an experience. Not one, however, that I would like to repeat, so I'm a little more careful about what I balance on when it's plywood. And that's my story, the broken collarbone.